What's up, guys? Airsoft Wizard here today. I'm going to give you an update about repairing the pistons. Now, I know they look like shit because that's what happens when you remold plastic. You basically scald it and burn it, obviously with a soldering iron. Ignore the noise in the background. That's just a rock tumbler polishing some purple opals. So the update today is to tell y'all initially, like this one, I haven't used this one yet, but I went ahead and made sure to reinforce the edges on both sides to connect to this tooth right here, so that way this doesn't pop off again. They did the first time when they, obviously first manufactured it. I will say this piston right here, I had this back tooth just get shredded through, and I went ahead and figured out a way to test it. Stress, do a stress test on each one of my pistons, pretty much. For instance, that one, I went ahead and remolded that one because that one I also did a stress test on and get ripped before I even put it in the gearbox. And then I had to figure out a way to repair those pistons. This one and this one surprisingly held up pretty well. Remember the first video? I don't know if y'all watched the first video, but this I said in the video how this one probably wouldn't work and the other ones would. Well, it ended up being the opposite. This one worked and the other ones didn't. So initially, how you do the stress test is take a pair of pliers, and I'm going to go ahead and flip the video sideways. Now, I'll just keep it forward. You can do the stress test by taking your pair of pliers, take your piston, and apply pressure just like this. And you do it at a downward angle, and then you'll lift as you push all the pressure you can on it, and lift until it pops off. If it doesn't pop off, then you should have initially a pretty good piston, unless you're just weak and you can't put a lot of pressure. But for instance, I did that with all these, and I had 2 out of 3 come off, and I had to re-repair those and then re-bond them in a certain way. Like this one right here came off, and what I did initially to fix that, after figuring out a way to remold it and everything, I went ahead and put a hole straight through where the back tooth would be, all the way down through, molded some plastic in between, and then whatever was left right here from the polycarbonate that wouldn't come off, because after it snapped it was basically just a straight hole through it. It wasn't like the whole back end coming off or anything like that. It was just a little hole being pretty much grinded through because of the gear. And whatever was left right there, I made an incision so that way I could layer some of the nylon fiber. I used nylon fiber for this because polycarbonate, after you try to scald it, it just becomes burnt and then crusty, and then it doesn't work. So something I've experienced with pre or reheated nylon fiber like this, if you reheat nylon fiber enough times, it actually gets pretty hard, turns into a pretty hard resin. Doesn't initially snap at all whatsoever. So yeah, I guess if you just, it's kind of like metal in that case, you just heat it and heat it enough times where it just stays. But if you probably heat it too much, it'll probably just break, and become real brittle. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I did. Put a hole straight through it, filled it in with some of the nylon, and then formed a tooth, and then there was, there's this. So that's what I did with that. But yeah, y'all pretty much get how it works. You just take the piston, take one hand, obviously you hold it, and then you put the other one with the plier, and you put as much pressure as you can in between that tooth, and then try to rip it off. You're gonna see that if it does, then you gotta redo it. You gotta make sure it's good. If it doesn't, then you should be initially pretty good to put it in your gun. It should be pretty much safe. But anyways, I figured I'd give you all that update today. Anyways, thanks. Airsoft Wizard signing out. Oh, yeah, just